Hello everyone, I'm Raven from Raven Comics. Just like in previous videos, today it's time to upload the full story of Doomsday Clock. Well, at least the last 4 issues, which is where the most interesting part is revealed. It's December 27th, 3019. A boy sacrifices his life to save Earth's sun. Although his body is destroyed, his ring survives. The explosion causes the ring to move back through time like a tachyon particle. It's December 20th, 3019. The dead boy is alive. He sweats beneath his iron mask, auditioning to join a legion of others devoted to uniting the universe. The dead boy's right lies in my hand. It's July 16th, 1940. I move the lantern 6 inches out of Alan Scott's reach. There is no ring in my hand. There never was a ring. It's December 27th, 3019. There is nothing but darkness. It's November 3002. There is nothing. March 1984. February 2430. August 2192. May 2030. Still nothing. Within a week, the last thing I will see is an enraged Superman. His cape is torn and his hands are stained with blood. I stand upon Mars, unable to answer a single question. Does Superman destroy me, or do I destroy everything? We begin outside Earth. Several ships are heading toward the planet Mars. Inside the vessels, we can see an incredible number of heroes. They are all divided and deeply pensive. Inside these ships travel different teams of Earth's heroes. We can see the Lanterns, the Hawks, beings of the sea like Aquaman and Mera, Flash, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Martian Manhunter. Also, the Supers team with Supergirl and Steel. The Magic team with Zatanna, John Constantine, Swamp Thing, and of course, the Doom Patrol. On the other hand, there's the Gotham team, Nightwing, Batgirl, Batwoman, and more. Among them, Red Hood can be spotted. Elsewhere, we have the Wonder Team, the Shazam family. This also includes Stargirl. Finally, there's Ted Kord's team, the original Blue Beetle. At his side stand Captain Atom and the Question. As everyone advances, we return to Dr. Manhattan. 5 days and 3 hours ago, a detonation on Earth created a tachyon mist that immediately clouded the past and the future. Looking at the present and his surroundings has been like trying to read through a kaleidoscope. What do they hope to accomplish? No, that is not now. That is later. As the tachyon particles finally begin to fade, I am able to probe the past, following them back to their source. That is in Moscow, where there was a great explosion. Hawkman has arrived with Bruce Wayne, who is still breathing. Green Lantern Hal Jordan mentions that Firestorm must have made a massive explosion to break away like that. And Superman is gravely injured. What the hell did Firestorm do to Superman? The news says Superman got what he deserved. He stayed there because he was protecting Firestorm. He showed whose side he was on, and it wasn't ours. The march against metahumans ended in front of the headquarters of the Justice League of America, where it is rumored Superman has taken refuge. Anti-superhuman sentiment continues to grow, as Superman has decided not to respond to accusations of collusion, fraud, and complicity in murder. We can only guess why Superman refuses to speak to the press. The president cannot wait any longer to address this. Crowds gather outside the White House demanding that the president come out immediately. Everyone saw Superman supporting Firestorm. Now he is a burden, and if the president supports the Man of Steel, he will lose the White House. He must step out and show the American people who their savior is now. Public opinion says our heroes can no longer wear those masks. They must reveal themselves and declare their true loyalty to the world. Russia is demanding it. Meanwhile, as this conflict unfolds, it is believed Wonder Woman is heading to the United Nations. Diana had retreated to Themyscira earlier this year. Her reappearance coincides with the disappearance of the rest of the Justice League. Elsewhere, in Wayne Manor, Alfred brings food to Master Bruce. Bruce wakes up and asks what has happened to Clark. Alfred tells him that Clark is safely recovering inside the Hall of Justice. Then Firestorm falls. Elsewhere, we see Ronnie waking up. Professor Stein is in front of him. What happened? Where's the number of the truck that ran them over? Stein tells him it wasn't a truck. It was some kind of detonation. One made to look as if they were its source. Ronnie asks if they've been framed again. First Poser tells them they're connected to the Superman theory. And by the way, where exactly are they? Ronnie thinks they're in some Justice League outpost. But when they look out the window, they realize they're in space. At Wayne Manor, Bruce asks Alfred why the League would leave Earth. Alfred says the League sent their best to analyze and contain any environmental damage caused by Firestorm's detonation. The Green Lanterns, Adam, and even John Constantine volunteered. They discovered that Firestorm wasn't the one who caused that explosion. It was someone else, someone they believe was trying to kill Superman. It was an energy they had never encountered before, and they traced it back to the planet Mars. Bruce tells them they're being deceived. Alfred doesn't believe him and asks why Bruce's last words, right before Firestorm exploded, were, "That is not Firestorm." Bruce says Firestorm is not behind the explosion, but he doesn't know if the man they're chasing was behind it either. He must have heard it, not seen it. Now he asks the computer how long it will take for a message to reach Mars. The computer tells him 13 minutes and 55 seconds. The ships have arrived on Mars. The Green Lanterns, protectors of Earth, are already here. Guy Gardner mentions that they would have arrived faster if they weren't dragging so many people along. Hal Jordan tells him he doesn't know who they're facing. Gardner says he knew one thing about them, besides the fact that he wasn't a fan of Superman. And what is that thing they know? That he likes the checkers. Upon arriving on Mars, they find a chessboard. On it lies a photograph. Jessica Cruz picks it up and asks who it is. Jordan mentions that their rings have located some kind of structure ahead, probably their base or something like that. We're inside the ship carrying Ronnie and Professor Stein. The latter tells Red Tornado that he brought them here without his consent. They've been kidnapped by the Justice League. The reason they brought them is because someone set a trap and put Superman into a coma. Back with the Green Lanterns, John Stewart says his ring isn't picking up fingerprints, but its energy source matches the explosion in Moscow. For Gardner, this is a bit creepy. Everything here is so still, so beautiful. At the Hall of Justice, Lex Luthor asks Lois Lane if she received the file he sent her. Lois doesn't know how he got in here, but he is not welcome to try and finish off Superman. Lex tells her he has no intention of harming Superman at this moment. Meanwhile, Professor Stein, full of fury, tells Ronnie they should be flying home to turn themselves in for what happened in Moscow. Their mission is not to be here marching toward Mars to fight a battle. Red Tornado tells them that the Justice League believes that whatever happened to them in Russia, including the civilian deaths, may not have been Firestorm's fault. In fact, they believe the villain they're tracking was behind all of this. Ronnie tells the professor they need to merge, there's something they can do. The professor doesn't want to, but Ronnie regrets it. Everyone needs Firestorm. The battle is about to begin. The Green Lanterns have created a bubble to seal off the planet. In a conversation as Firestorm, Professor Stein tells Ronnie that he doesn't know what they're facing. They don't have to stay and fight, and he doesn't intend to help him. Ronnie tells him he doesn't need his advice to create breathable air. Even he knows that much. The other teams are arriving, and now that there's air, they can step out without a problem. The question arrives, saying the Superman theory isn't a theory, it's a fact. Though right now it seems no one cares about those things. As the heroes advance, Dr. Manhattan comments that the Tachyons continue to cloud his perception. What will happen in the immediate future isn't clear, but he can see how this ends. All the heroes are now in front of Dr. Manhattan, and the first to step forward is John Johns. Martian Manhunter introduces himself. Who is this blue man? Where does he come from? What is he doing on Mars? The Shazam family feels disgusted by this man who is naked, and apparently, he feels very comfortable. Dr. Manhattan tells them they are protesting against a power they fear. The Martian doesn't understand. Manhattan apologizes. He was speaking to Ronnie 6 minutes from now. The Tachyons are tangling things up. The Martian is here seeking answers to questions he doesn't even know. It looks like the first one to attempt a fight will be Guy Gardner. Before starting all this and asking why he's messing with Superman, he has to tell him about his friends. They are the biggest group of tough guys on this side of the Milky Way. They made the leader of Apocalypse lick the crap off their boots. They shoved a universe eater back into the sewer it crawled out from. They defeated evil ring-seeking armies that tried to enslave them. They burned the Dark Batmen from alternate realities who tried to torture them. Manhunter tells him that's enough. Through his mind, he can see that Manhattan is confused. Dr. Manhattan tells him that, for the moment, he is. In 5 seconds, he will broadcast to the whole world the thought he has read most clearly, his final vision of Superman. Supergirl asks him if he believes Superman is going to destroy him, and that's why he wants to destroy him first. There's no other way. Firestorm suggests they all fight him together. Everyone saw what he did. This monster believes he is the end of the universe. That's enough for Guy Gardner. The talking is over. With a hard punch, he thinks he'll finish him. Gardner attacks, and seeing Manhattan on the ground surprises him. Could that really be it? Dr. Manhattan vanishes and takes Guy Gardner's ring. He is curious to see what's inside. Upon removing it, he has to admit that not knowing what is, what was, and what will be is pleasant. This is the energy, the emotion that fused and became a ring. This is something he finds difficult to feel. But Guy Gardner is the first to fall. Then we move on to magic. Could it be that magic might actually harm Dr. Manhattan? Zatanna is preparing a spell. The demon Etrigan is the first magical being to attack. Now Zatanna has her spell ready. Dr. Manhattan tells them that they all believe they're performing magic. He has to conduct a deeper analysis, but he sees that this power they harness is actually remnants of creation, like random errors in computer code, discarded and forgotten, left behind to be collected and used by those who are themselves discarded and forgotten. Now he takes the magic. It feels good to keep learning. He will use this magic and direct it against all the heroes. Back with Lex Luthor, who tells Lois that he has come in peace. Lois doesn't believe Lex is here to help. All his life, he has tried to destroy Superman. Why would he be here to help him now? Lex admits he is thrilled to see Superman with his guard down, and he understands her caution when it comes to him. He will give her his weapon so she knows he's serious. She can take it if it makes her feel better. But of course, the safety is on. Lois takes the gun to point it at him and tells him not to get any closer to Superman. Lex begins. He was the one who sent her the recordings of those so-called heroes who never really were. It's proof that there is someone out there using a force to overshadow Superman and all of creation. His evidence points to one of its victims. Has she perhaps heard of Wally West? In the Batcave, Alfred hopes Batman isn't planning to go to Mars. The news begins. The sun shines this morning. Wonder Woman has arrived at the United Nations. On Mars, Ronnie tells the professor that they can't hold back. They didn't even know who they were dealing with. Manhattan answers him, "No, Ronald, you don't know. We take a small trip through time, 7 years and 46 days ago. Outside, they're protesting against a power they fear. In less than 2 hours, this facility will explode. Ronnie and Professor Stein will merge into one of the most powerful metahumans found on this earth. And in the process, one of the deadliest was revealed." Ronnie asks about the professor. In a room, Stein is speaking on the phone. This is all just as he read in his last report. The more powerful the accident, the more powerful the end result. If one considers the origins of the others and applies it the same way, he knows how many problems some of them have caused. That's why his search was so exhaustive. His mother died years ago, and his relationship with his parents is strained. He desperately needs a father figure. Yet, somehow, he reminds him of his own son. He has prepared him well. The two will become one. What better way to learn about these metahumans than from the inside? Ronnie can't believe it. All of this is Professor Stein's fault. He planned it all. Now Ronnie begs him to get out of his head. He has to get out. He is desperate and asks the doctor why he showed him this. Dr. Manhattan tells him simply to prove his point. Even hope collapses. Firestorm attacks, and it seems he did manage to hurt him. This is interesting to Dr. Manhattan. Green Arrow mentions that he's not as invulnerable as he seems. Everyone attacks. It's all too fascinating to Dr. Manhattan. This is when all the heroes take their chance. The Green Lanterns use the power of their rings. Supergirl uses her heat vision. Shazam does the same. And we see Dr. Manhattan being struck from different sides. Someone still hasn't used his power to its fullest. He must forget Superman. Captain Atom is the last thing he will see. The Captain unleashes a fierce attack, and we see a great blue explosion. The photograph he had has been torn to pieces, and only a fragment remains. Meanwhile, on Earth, Wonder Woman approaches the podium of the United Nations. Today is the day they can begin to heal. Our world is being attacked by falsehood, fear, and extremism. There is no singular villain behind it. We have all played some part. On Mars, Flash tells Hal Jordan that everything is going to be okay. All the heroes are somewhat joyful. It seems they have defeated the enemy. Well, that's how it seems, because Dr. Manhattan is reconstructing himself again. And while he does, he asks them what exactly they hope to accomplish. Right after that, he unleashes a devastating attack. Someone new has arrived at the United Nations. This being hopes not to interrupt Diana. Diana asks Gigana what they're doing here. Black Adam heard that her friends were on vacation. And what is he doing here? He's making a move. Meanwhile, on the planet Mars, Dr. Manhattan stands gazing at the sun. All around him lie fallen heroes. Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for crisis. An urban planner in distress and a fat banker were playing a game of chess. Two men from two different worlds. They were shot and killed before they could finish their game. My friend Murray wanted my help to solve the case, to find the killer, and I knew it all came down to answering a simple question. Who was the target, and who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time? I always saw myself as some kind of knight. Turns out I've always been the pawn. The woman by my side was the love of my life, Joyce Galino, the wife of mobster Joseph Castellino. When Castellino found out about us, he shot Joyce. I've drowned myself in whiskey ever since. Nathaniel has just taken a hard bullet. He's lying on the floor. He supposes that what he sees in front of him isn't the ghost of Christmas past, but Joyce needs to tell him how she did it and why. Nathaniel tells her that she needed her husband out of the way if she was going to take care of business. She found a man tormented and haunted by war and pointed him at her husband. She knew that if Joseph killed her, he wouldn't stop until Nathaniel was also dead. But now Joyce has to thank Nathaniel for having loved her the way he did. Nathaniel was about to say something, but suddenly forgets his line. The director calls for a cut. We start with Dr. Manhattan. It's June 8th, 1954. Carver Coleman is on the set shooting the final scene. It's almost 2 p.m. and he hasn't been able to get a single take right. He tells his director it's a headache. It's July 1st, 1954. Carver Coleman reads a letter threatening to reveal his darkest secret. It's March 19th, 1952. The 25th Academy Awards celebrate at the RKO Pantages Theater, the first ceremony ever broadcast on television. It's June 9th, 1954. Carver Coleman's body lies on the floor of his living room, blood pooling around his fractured skull. It's June 13th, 1954. I stand at the grave of Carver Coleman. I feel nothing. It's 2:15 on June 8th, 1954. Carver Coleman insists he's fine. He just needs a little rest. They have to finish the scene today. 6 hours later of filming, Carver Coleman has dinner with studio executives to celebrate. 35 minutes after dinner, he heads to a bar. It's 10 o'clock. Carver Coleman is waiting for his blackmailer. His mother has arrived. She only wants to protect her lie, but it will cost him. Carver doesn't care, but he doesn't want to do this here. We're back 4 hours earlier when they had resumed filming. In the end, the scene this time was a success. Worlds live, worlds die, nothing lasts forever. Or maybe it does. In August of 1959, the light is tearing me apart. It's November 1st, 1985. Sometimes I forget these things. It's now. The red earth of Mars is beneath my feet. An army of superhumans surrounds me, Superman's friends. But yes, I understand. Without condoning or condemning human affairs, they cannot concern me. I'm leaving this galaxy for a less complicated one. It's November 2nd, 1985. I enter the multiverse. It's April 18th, 1938. I feel drawn to Superman's world for reasons I don't yet understand. The first person I will speak to is a man named Carver Coleman. It's Christmas Day, 1928. Carver Coleman sits in a dark theater in Philadelphia while his mother dances in the street for sweaty men and 10-cent coins. When she brings one of the men home, he decides to head west. It's December 31st, 1928. Carver Coleman arrives in Los Angeles with $17 and a change of clean clothes. It's January 19th, 1929. Carver Coleman delivers mail at Paramount Studios for 8 months. People still don't remember his name. It's February 14th. Carver Coleman sees the studio boss kissing a man backstage. The executive drops his cigarette. 7 hours later, the stage will burn to the ground. The studio will claim it was faulty wiring. Carver Coleman loses his job because of it. It's February 12th, 1937. Carver Coleman is fired from Dantana after skipping work to stand in line for an audition that never happens. He was evicted on April 18th, 1938. That night, Carver Coleman sleeps on the streets of Los Angeles. 10 minutes before midnight, he is awakened by a blue light. If you thought it was Dr. Manhattan, you're wrong. It's the police. They ask him how many times they've told the vagrants to clear out of here. He has to get up and leave the neighborhood. This is a good place. This is Hollywood. Carver says he has nowhere to go. The cop tells him of course he has somewhere. For example, he can go to the hospital, before striking him hard. Then the officer leaves. It's April 18th, 1938 again. This time, the blue light really is Dr. Manhattan. The first thing he hears is Carver Coleman crying out for the man who hit him. The first thing he sees is Carver Coleman checking his pulse. The people of this world are so different. I wonder if this is why I was brought here. I'm confused for the first time since Adrian blinded me with tachyons. I try to clear my mind to understand the temporal delineation between worlds. I see myself on Mars. Or is that now? We return to the moment when Dr. Manhattan destroyed the Justice League and essentially all the heroes of Earth. Green Lantern Hal Jordan recovers and tries to reason with Guy Gardner and John Stewart. At this moment, he is about to call the Corps for reinforcements. He summons the Lanterns so they can recharge and arrive, but before Hal Jordan can do it, he is interrupted by Dr. Manhattan. He will not allow it. He needs them all incapacitated, for reasons that will soon become evident. I am on the surface of Mars, waiting for Superman. It is August 13th, 1943. Nathaniel's first movie, At Sunset, is released. Though its controversial content sparks criticism, it becomes Warner Brothers' most successful picture of the year. It is April 18th, 1938. I have already arrived. Carver asks me if I am an angel. Clearly, I am not. I hear the boy's stomach growl. He needs to eat, so I take him somewhere he can have a meal. He tells me he has no money. I tell him he does not need it. A waitress serves us, and Carver wonders why she is not afraid. I am altering the color frequency of the light around me. She sees only what I want her to see. The waitress takes the order and leaves. It is April 18th, 1938. I feel as though I am walking through a fog. I try a simple exercise to look 3 minutes into the future. I am unable to. I need something to focus on. This man is like trying to see through a soap-covered window. It is April 18th, 1938. A hum fills my ears as I try to open my eyes. It is April 18th, 1939. Carver Coleman tells me I was right, and that he has landed the role. Now he will be working alongside Gary Cooper. Back on April 18th, 1938, Carver tells me that if I am not a guardian angel, then I must be a god. My eyes continue adjusting to this universe, and I begin to see the future again. April 18th, 1943. April 18th, 1952. Carver's life has gone splendidly. He has achieved great success as an actor. But it is now April 18th, 1954. Carver asks me why he will not be in the world within a year. What does that mean? This time, he does not want details, only the truth. It is April 18th, 1955. For the first time since 1938, I sit here alone. I can see him again. In 8 months, Carver will land a role that will change his life. Suddenly, news spreads. It is April 18th, 1938. The news of Superman travels swiftly across America. I must withdraw from this place. When Dr. Manhattan leaves, Carver finds a photograph. Later, we are at the scene of an accident. People cannot believe that a man took control of it. He wore a wrestling outfit and a cape. He lifted that car as if it were a crate of apples. Then he leapt over that building. He also had a smile on his face. The crowd, the car, Superman, none of it was ever here. It is April 18th, 1938. The world has changed. A theoretical physicist named Bryce DeWitt hypothesized that the universe was constantly splitting into alternate timelines, the many worlds interpretation. He theorized that parallel worlds were endlessly created, branching like the limbs of a tree. The heroes of this earth call it the multiverse, and this world was the center. The world was introduced to Superman on April 18th, 1938. He was the first costumed hero, the first of many in this world. It is July 1940. Engineer Alan Scott is on a train crossing a bridge when he clutches a green lantern, unaware of the power inside. In January, a college student named Jay Garrick lies unconscious in the university laboratory, inhaling heavy water vapors. By morning, he will be the fastest man alive. That same month, archaeologist Carter Hall comes into contact with an ancient dagger that awakens memories of his past life as an Egyptian prince. He recalls the warrior he once was. Carter will now seek not only the weapons he once wielded, but the love he lost. In October, frustrated by his small stature, Al Pratt begins training with one of the best fighters in the world. In November, he will sit at a table and feel compelled to speak up. In May, a golden helmet of unknown supernatural power falls into the hands of Kent Nelson. 3 years later, he will learn that the spirit within had been searching for him. It is April 1939. Wesley Dodds awakens from a nightmare of a murder at the World's Fairgrounds. With a gas mask, Wesley Dodds finds the killer. In February 1940, the body of Jim Corrigan lies lifeless. He rises from the dead, seeking vengeance. In March, chemist Rex Tyler invents a pill that triples his strength. He begins to test himself. November 1940. The Justice Society gathers. Jay Garrick is the first to speak. He knows they have been waiting for Superman. But if the Justice Society of America is to succeed, he believes they will need him. Some think Superman believes he is too much for the team. Others that he is simply too busy saving someone every morning. For Jay Garrick, Superman was an inspiration when he first gained his powers. They call him the Flash, and he has outrun bullets, even caught a few. Adam tells the group that everyone reads the newspapers. They know who they are. He believes they do not need Superman, not when they already have a Green Lantern and his magic ring. Alan Scott is unsure of what he can do. Even though the ring and lantern saved his life, Johnny asks the society to say cheese so he can take their picture. Now he interrupts them. He can figure out where Superman is. He can summon his magic lightning to tell him. Johnny Thunder summons the genie of the lamp, and the genie asks what he can do for him. Back with Dr. Manhattan. It is November 1940. Green Lantern has never heard of Superman. No one has. It is April 18, 1948. Dr. Manhattan meets with Carver. The latter asks if he has already seen his latest movie, Murder at Home. It was truly a marvel. The doctor tells him he has little interest in fiction. Carver tells him he cannot thank him enough for all of this. Everything he has prophesied has come to pass. He has given him so much hope throughout the years. Dr. Manhattan asks him if he has ever heard of Superman. Carver says no, but there is something he needs to know: what awaits him this year. Suddenly, Dr. Manhattan disappears. This is where the story always begins. We are in 1956. Superman is seen in Metropolis for the first time. 25 years earlier, the winds shifted on a farm in Kansas. Jonathan and Martha Kent found the orphan child. Carver Coleman never heard of Superman because a strange force delayed his arrival forward in time. The reverberations of this change affect not only this world, but all worlds of the multiverse. Superman is no longer first in 1938. We are in 1956. No, that is not true. It is October 1986. His arrival on Earth has changed again, and so it happens several times. His arrival shifts again and again. Later, Clark learns the truth. He does not accept it. He wants to be Clark Kent. He wants to be Jonathan Kent's son. Jonathan tells him that of course he is his son. Dr. Manhattan does not understand this universe at all. It is May 1949. A young Clark Kent sits beside his father. Jonathan dies. We are in 1956. I see Clark visiting his parents' graves. It is October 1986. His parents are alive. Years later, Jonathan Kent dies again in his son's arms. I begin to believe I have misunderstood this entire universe. I look to the future, tracing the influence of Superman. How can one man affect so much? Even 1,000 years from now, his hope is alive. After years of feeling isolated and alone, Clark Kent is taken by 3 teenagers from the future, carried forward into the 31st century. I realize his universe is much more than it seems, and everything is connected to him, to Superman. But why is he the center of this universe? Forces like the Anti-Monitor and Extant have been responsible for the changes in Superman's timeline. Dark designs seem to constantly target the hope he embodies in an effort to redefine him. Like others before me, I grow curious. I move to reshape this universe so that I can see how it forms around Superman. I change the past to challenge the future. And as I watch reality collapse, I realize this universe is not part of the multiverse as others believe. The multiverse reacts to this universe. There have been endless parallel worlds. None. 52 dark multiverses, all created by changes to this universe. This universe is distinct from the multiverse. It is the metaverse, and it is in a constant state of change. As I erase the axis of the Justice Society, I alter Superman once again. I watch as my vision of this universe sharpens into reality. Superman is sent to Earth as a child. On the eve of Clark Kent's prom, Jonathan and Martha die in a car accident. Without his parents or the Legion, Clark drifts further from humanity. I understand him better. I identify more with him. It is 5 years ago, and I feel Superman's power shift. It is intoxicating. I have alerted the metaverse, and in turn the multiverse. A year ago, the metaverse became aware of my arrogance. That was when Wally West appeared and told me he knew what I had done. Whatever it was, they would stop me. I realized the metaverse is not passive. Like an organism fighting to survive, it has aspects underestimated, an innate hope that resurfaces. It is April 18th, 1938. I have reshaped the metaverse, and it has turned against me. I see a vision of Superman in the future. He has found me, and he destroys me. Or do I destroy the metaverse? It is June 8th, 1954. Carver asks me if I am all right, but what am I doing here? The truth is, I do not know. In 10 seconds, Carver Coleman will be dead. Someone strikes him from behind. On June 8th, 1954, Carver Coleman is murdered. His mother and her partners ransack his house, taking all the money and valuables they can find. The housekeeper burns the letter, protecting Carver's secret. The murder is never solved. It is May 1971. I have finished with the war in Vietnam. I see Blake shoot a pregnant woman, and I do nothing. It is April 1938. I use a man named Carver Coleman to help me find balance in the metaverse. 16 years later, I watched his mother beat him to death in his own home, and I did nothing. It is November 1st, 1985. Adrian will kill millions to unite the world. On November 2nd, I allow Adrian to walk free. I am a being of inaction, on a collision course with a man of action. In this universe of hope, I have become the villain. Every action has its pleasures and its price. We begin with Batman, who is inside a military base. He arrived just in time to stop the launch of a missile. The president had declared that without Superman, America needs to rely on its more traditional deterrence against foreign threats. The gang war between the Joker and two unknown players has erupted throughout Gotham City. Protesters have been dispersed due to a mandatory curfew. Inside the military base, Batman destroys the controllers so that no one can launch anything else. If you are reading this now, whether I am alive or dead, you will know the truth. Whatever the exact nature of this conspiracy, Adrian is responsible. I have done my best to make this readable. I think it shows a disturbing scene. I appreciate your recent support and hope the world survives long enough for this to reach you. But there are tanks east of Berlin, and they have written on the wall. As for me, I regret nothing. I lived my life free of compromise, and I went into the shadows without complaint. Rorschach's Journal, November 1st, 1985. It was Alfred who was reading Rorschach's journal. Back with the bat, military reinforcements have arrived, and now he seems a little trapped. The news is broadcasting updates. There has been no sign of the Justice League since they left for the planet Mars. Putin prepares to send the Peoples, America's heroes, to capture Superman if the United States refuses to hand him over. The outsiders of Markovia have allied with Russia. The National Guard has arrived in Gotham City, not to suppress the violence, but to arrest Batman. He has been accused of treason after leaving dozens of American soldiers injured, some of them severely hurt. Later, we move to Wonder Woman, who is standing before the United Nations. Suddenly, Black Adam arrives with his metahumans. Thanks to the tremendous Wonder Woman, who has prepared herself against the evil leader of Kondak and his many metahumans, everything has gone relatively well. Black Adam is a major terrorist threat to the world. But America must win. The bigger they are, like Giganta, the harder they fall. Everything was going well for Wonder Woman, but things suddenly get complicated. She is struck by a powerful lightning bolt. This was the work of Black Adam. Why is Black Adam attacking Wonder Woman and the UN? Well, because they are descendants of those who enslaved his people, those who violated and murdered so many Amazons. She is only fighting for the privileged, and Diana has yet to realize it. Black Adam fights for the oppressed. He needs to know right now which side Wonder Woman will be on. Meanwhile, the president receives new intelligence. They have tracked dozens, perhaps hundreds, of metahumans gathering in Kondak. These metahumans come from all over the world. The Superman theory. The kidnappings of metahumans by governments and traffickers. This is those people. Kondak is their only option, and here they are safe. Black Adam is the one protecting them. The president must reconsider the following: their stance on whether or not to acknowledge the work of Professor Martin Stein. If they tell the world that they are responsible for a percentage of America's superheroes and supervillains, they might restore faith in at least some of them. But with their nuclear systems down, they have no defense. Warships are patrolling the Mediterranean searching for any sign, but they don't know the precise location of the island, nor the true intentions of the Amazons. Meanwhile, on the Amazons island, the Oracle has predicted that Diana will be gravely wounded in combat if she continues. She will fight to stay, but this is for her protection. The Amazons will not seek retribution against Black Adam. It is not in their way. For now, they cannot do much. Saving the rest of the world from itself is not their mission. Putin has given the United States a deadline. By midnight tonight, they must hand over Superman. While all of this is happening, we now go to Lex Luthor, who is with Lois Lane. A few weeks ago, Lex was intercepted by someone claiming to be from another Earth. He wasn't the first Lex had seen, of course. Then someone shot at Lex, someone he assumes was from that same parallel world, since they seemed to know each other. The man who came to speak to him called himself Ozymandias. He boasted about having created an alien invasion, the illusion of a common enemy that killed millions but united the planet. In the end, his actions were exposed. His world fell into nuclear war. So he came here seeking the only being from his Earth he believed had the power to save this one. He was desperate to find Dr. Manhattan. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the Man of Steel has just awakened after receiving the massive blast from Firestorm. On the other hand, Ozymandias is observing all the news. A metahuman military army inside Kondak has caused the destruction of the pyramids. It is suspected that the destruction of Flash's world was provoked by metahumans. Someone speaks to Ozymandias. He was the one watching all this. Saturn Girl tells him that he once said he felt as though they were the only two people in the world when they were alone. She wanted him to be in this world, a world to remember. Ozymandias tells her yes, a world to remember. That's what they all hope for. But in reality, this world needs a hero. They need someone to stop it from falling apart. Ozymandias moves to one of his cells. Inside are Saturn Girl and Thunderbolt. Ozymandias asks Saturn Girl a question. What does she want? What she wants to know is why she cannot read his mind. The world is ending, and he has a chilling smile on his face. Elsewhere, inside one of Lex Luthor's secret bases of operations, he has something to show Lois Lane. Have you ever heard of Carver Coleman? He was an actor who was murdered in 1954. The case was never officially solved. Carver Coleman's estate was put up for sale. His belongings were sold to collectors, passing from hand to hand over the years. One of those things now belongs to Luthor, a photograph. According to the inscription on the back of the photo, Lex Luthor believes the name of the man is John, and the photo was found on April 18, 1938. He has been tracking anomalies since he was a child. He tested many things over the years. The existence of aliens, as she already knows. The threat from Nibiru, which he saved the world from. But the story behind this photo eluded him. 2 years ago, he began tracking abnormal coronal energy spikes. They had been increasing in power and frequency, leading him to believe that something was trying to enter their world from beyond. Every second is a gift. He heard a warning about someone who altered reality. And there he was, in front of Barry and Wally. But the flashes weren't the source of the anomaly pulling at them. There, lying in the grass, was a photograph. That photo, somehow, was connected to the rebirth of Kid Flash. He found chronal residue in the area, including the recording he had sent her, along with other personal artifacts connected to Wally West. Evidence that their reality had been altered. But it was this photograph that was the true anomaly. He has found them all over America. Mostly, the one was recovered by his team in the Congo just days ago. Each one is absolutely identical in every way. According to the sequence he has pieced together, the one he holds is the first, from 1938. But look, the suit John is wearing is actually from a later time, the 1950s. Which means this photo has been traveling through time. Well, not really these exact photos. It seems they are being left behind by someone, like a trail of breadcrumbs scattered throughout much of the last century and into this one. And why are they being left here? Well, Lex believes that person is not even aware they are doing it. But whoever they are more powerful than anything he has ever faced. Now we are with Dr. Manhattan. As the end draws near, things begin to focus. It is March 30th, 1981 in this world. A drifter, John Hilker Jr., attempts to assassinate Ronald Reagan. The president's blood falls onto the sidewalk as his lung collapses. In 4 hours and 17 minutes, this street will be rubble, and Dr. Manhattan will speak to Superman for the first time. We are with the Man of Steel, who was preparing to leave this place. At that moment, the military arrived for him. By order of the President of the United States, they asked him to come peacefully. Superman raises his hands. He doesn't want any trouble. On the other hand, we are with Ozymandias, who is speaking with Saturn Girl. He tells her that Superman doesn't even know he exists, that she has come from the future to warn Superman about things he doesn't understand. He tells her one thing: she will never see Superman again. Saturn Girl tells him a truth he cannot believe. He will never be able to destroy Superman if that is what he is planning. Adrian was honest. He was loyal, and he had learned the greatest lesson of all. It's not about who wins or who loses, but how you play the game. He is counting on the Man of Steel to survive whatever comes his way. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we are with the new Rorschach, who is having a nightmare about his father and the old Rorschach. At that moment, Alfred wakes him up. He has already read the journal. He regrets not believing him before, but now he does. Bruce asked him to help find Ozymandias, to prove Superman's innocence, to prevent him from doing to their world what he did to his own. Alfred hopes he is all right, and he has brought him some food, a few pancakes. Rorschach gets upset. He says Alfred put him in prison, left him to rot. At this moment, he is no longer Rorschach, and he is going to leave. Alfred asks him to wait, saying they want to help him. Meanwhile, in the streets, Mime and Marionette have joined the chaos, and Ozymandias continues telling his plan. His original idea was to find Dr. Manhattan, to convince him to return to his Earth so he could save it from nuclear annihilation. But he knew that after their argument, before he disappeared, John would never listen to him again. So he focused on them. Their child was born in the prison hospital. He promised to reveal where the child had been taken if they came with him to confront John. He pulled their strings. He needed them because of their past experience with Dr. Manhattan. John was responsible for their imprisonment. Everyone believed he had hesitated to kill Marionette because she was pregnant. But he knew that in the past, John had seen the comedian shoot and kill a pregnant woman and had done nothing. Over the years, John revealed to him that he had seen the future of Marionette's child. That child would be adopted by a couple and bring incredible joy to a woman who had once been very important to John in his life. That woman was Hollis. He hoped that by seeing Marionette, John would remember the family he chose to protect, granting Marionette a mercy she certainly did not deserve. And how did he manage to free them and bring them here? Well, he had another puppet, an easier one to manipulate. His name was Reggie Long. He mistakenly believed that Rorschach had been a friend of his father, Dr. Malcolm Long, because Brian Lewis had torn out the pages of Dr. Long's report detailing the dark turn in his relationship with Kovacs. As the new Rorschach, Reggie came after him, blaming him for the death of his parents, but found him dying of cancer. A facade he maintained until John exposed the truth. Reggie believed he was overwhelmed with guilt and shame from the tragedy of New York. He gathered Mime and Marionette, and once he redesigned Night Owl's ship, he turned it into a temporal sphere. Whatever you want to call it, it blocked John's signal. And while missiles fell around his world, they made their way into this universe. Poor Reggie, he had no idea he was wearing the mask of the man who destroyed his parents, working for the man who manipulated him just as Byron had, unknowingly. And arriving in this strange, colorful world, it was here that he realized John had traveled to a place both special and horrifying. A world of extremes, impossible to reconcile, one full of hope and, at the same time, despair. A schizophrenic society overflowing with superpowers and costumes. John refused to help them, obsessed with an imminent confrontation with Superman that would lead either to his own destruction or to that of this universe. But it was clear why John had ventured to this place, to be among his own kind. He refused to help, believing that a confrontation with Superman would lead to his own erasure or that of this world. So Ozymandias came up with a new plan, one to save both worlds. The world's belief in Superman held it together like a rope and a rubber band. For things to change, they first had to fall apart. And what if he could turn the world against Superman? In his search, he discovered that this Superman theory was in fact partially true. After Superman's arrival, the US government had begun experimenting in an attempt to create its own metahumans. These confidential programs were led by Professor Martin Stein, who later caused the accident that bound him with the student Ronald Raymond, turning them into Firestorm. Raymond's psychological profile revealed him to be deeply emotional and insecure, a person who could be manipulated, just as Stein had done. After leaking this information to Firestorm's Russian counterpart, Pazar, he placed Raymond under increasing media pressure. In the end, Superman went to Moscow to intervene, defending Firestorm in hopes of saving lives. Then, Bubastis helped create a small detonation. People died, and Superman was blamed for protecting Firestorm. He wanted the metahumans, who would undoubtedly investigate quickly, to know that the explosion was not Firestorm's fault. The heroes of this Earth traced that energy, not to Bubastis, but to Dr. Manhattan, resulting in a battle that removed all of Superman's metahuman allies. Everything indicates that the stage is set. As the midnight deadline to surrender Superman approaches, Putin's metahuman forces have gathered in Red Square to honor the fallen. The Amazons stormed the United Nations and kidnapped Wonder Woman in the middle of battle, leaving no one to stop Black Adam. Elsewhere, the US president's helicopter is ready. They need to get him to safety. The president does not want to leave. It isn't safe out there. And he is right. Black Adam has arrived with his metahumans to destroy the helicopter. Black Adam stands before the cameras. He must deliver a message to all metahumans. The revolution is now. They must come and join him. It is time to free this world from slavery. Superman arrives before Black Adam. He is still catching up, but he knows enough to realize this has gone too far. Black Adam also gives the Man of Steel a chance. He can join them. He can stand with them. And now they are all in front of the cameras, united by what seem to be metahumans tied to the Superman theory. Back with Saturn Girl. She tells Ozymandias that Superman is going to stop him. She has seen the future, and it exists thanks to Superman. Ozymandias tells her that if Superman is so important to her existence, then she must let him ask one thing. Does Superman even remember her? Well, no. The truth is he doesn't. Something begins to happen to Saturn Girl. Ozymandias has the theory that she no longer belongs to this timeline, and she never realized it. This world is about to become a tomb. That tomb will be a monument. Smoke begins to rise from her ring. Now he tells this old man to stop crying. It's part of the past, and the past will not be erased. Suddenly, Superman takes a hard blow from Black Adam, which sends him flying far away. That will lead him, in 6 seconds, to face Dr. Manhattan. After moving forward, Superman is face to face with Dr. Manhattan. It is now. It is Superman. It is him. It is them. It is the world. It is the moment. The time has come. I am not afraid of making a mistake, even a great mistake. A lifelong mistake, and perhaps one that lasts as long as eternity. Clock. I was wrong. Everything ends here. Nothing lasts forever, not even hope. Not even I can make it last. It's August 1959. I fell in love and grew distracted. I left Johnny's watch in my lab coat inside the test chamber. Anxious to show her how I repaired it, I went to retrieve it. My pulse quickens as the door closes. A month earlier, still colleagues, Johnny and I traveled to Jersey to visit her mother and some old friends. We went to the amusement park. We killed time until her mother returned. 12 minutes later, Johnny's watch strap broke. Before she could pick it up, a fat man stepped on it. I told her I could fix it. In 1945, the atomic bomb was dropped. My father told me that time no longer mattered. He abandoned his work as a watchmaker. It's July 1959. I feel Johnny's breath on my ear. Her broken watch still rests on the nightstand of the hotel room. It's August. The light shatters me. It is the now. The moment has arrived. It is the now. In 11 minutes and 57 seconds, everything will be over. In an effort to understand the nature of Superman and the metaverse, I came to this story. And now this world has turned against me, like an invasive virus, sending me into collision with its greatest antibody. We begin with Dr. Manhattan. Remember, in the previous chapter, the Man of Steel and the Doctor stood face to face. Dr. Manhattan says, "Hello, Superman," and the Man of Steel asks who he is. Manhattan tells him that he is the person he will destroy, or that he is the one who will destroy everything that exists. Superman doesn't understand what he's saying. Before they can continue their conversation, the Russian heroes, who had come to attack, now stand before Superman. They tell Superman that the Man of Steel must answer for his crimes against the Russian people. Superman has done good for this world, but that cannot excuse the role he played in the attack that left dozens dead. Black Adam arrives. Superman will be held accountable, but Kondak will be the one to handle it. He doesn't have to fight for a government that wishes to control everything it fears. If he joins the nation of Kondak, Pazar can be free. Pazar erupts, saying he could never betray his homeland. We return to Dr. Manhattan. It is November 2nd, 1985. I see Lori embracing Daniel Dreyberg. Her mask mixes with tears. Her naked skin provides him comfort. It is October 1985. I let the photograph fall on Mars, leaving everything behind. It is April 18th, 1938. Superman holds a car above his head. It is April 18th, 1938. There is no car. While Dr. Manhattan is watching all this, both teams are about to attack Superman. In different parts of the world, people know that Superman needs help. With the Justice League still on Mars fighting the entity that claims to be the true culprit, the Prime Minister has ordered the Knights to protect America's interests. But whose interests does he truly mean? That is still uncertain. Returning to Dr. Manhattan, it is the now. I am trapped in a question with two answers. I cannot see through the barrier of darkness. I only see Superman. In 10 minutes, the colors of the world will disappear and there will be nothing but darkness. Meanwhile, in Gotham City, Alfred approaches Reggie and hands him his mask so that he can once again become Rorschach. Reggie attacks Alfred. He realizes that all this time his eyes had been closed. But now they are open, and he has seen the truth. Fighting is pointless. This world will end just like his. Alfred tells him yes, of course it will. Unless they do something to save it, of course. Now he asks him to look at the mask. Will Reggie see what Alfred sees? He sees fragments of floating rocks in space. Reggie says he sees no future, not even hope. It is lost, and he cannot find it. His father used to wake him every morning with a smile on his face, telling him that no matter what came up, he had to make the most of it. He believed there was goodness in the world everywhere, that we only had to look for it. But some people cannot see goodness. The only thing they want is for everyone to suffer along with them, and they are about to win. Reggie cannot see any hope, so the best thing would be for this world to destroy itself. That is, before they are dragged into darkness with him. Before Reggie can continue speaking, the Bat arrives at this place. Batman tells him he knows he tried to warn him and has to apologize. Reggie says that doesn't matter anymore. There is nothing they can do now. While Superman is fighting against the heroes of different nations, Dr. Manhattan only watches everything unfold without lifting a finger. A car is about to fall on a family. Dr. Manhattan watches as Superman rushes in to stop the car. The Man of Steel doesn't know who this blue figure is. The only thing he asks is that he help these people. Dr. Manhattan asks him why he should. He has already seen this. It seems to Superman that this battle is lost, and he recognizes that he cannot do this alone. Manhattan continues without helping. Everything will begin in less than 4 minutes. It is November 2nd, 1985. I remember this feeling. Millions will die in a twisted vision of peace forced upon a deranged world. By killing Walter Kovacs, I became part of the lie, unaware that the illusion would one day end. Elsewhere, Lex Luthor finishes talking with Lois Lane. Luthor asks Lois to write her article. She must inform the world, tell them their history has been altered by a force beyond their universe. And by the way, he wants credit for everything Luthor has discovered. Now, if she'll excuse him, he must leave this place. Back with the Bat, who asks Reggie if he really believes what Dr. Manhattan says, that everything is already predestined. Reggie says yes, of course. This was over from the beginning. He destroyed his father, his mother alone. He can see it, he always sees it. Batman tells him he sees a monster when he looks at that mask. But he can accept it, he must change it. He must make people see something else. That seems to be what his friend Byron was trying to do. He only wanted to protect the way he remembered his father. Back with Superman, who asks Dr. Manhattan how he can stand there and do nothing. Dr. Manhattan tells him his world once had a chance at peace, but after he left, it lost it and fell into war. Even now, it remains at war. Dr. Manhattan knows there are only 12 seconds left. I see nothing but darkness. He is the one responsible for the changes in his life. The loss of mentors he never knew, friends he forgot. More specifically, he is responsible for the death of his parents. He changed his life, only out of sheer curiosity. Will Superman destroy him for that? Or will Dr. Manhattan defend himself despite his sins? The moment of truth has arrived, the moment that has been foretold since the beginning of this series. Superman versus Dr. Manhattan. Will the Man of Steel kill him upon learning that he was the one who murdered his parents? Superman prepares to strike. Dr. Manhattan waits for him with his eyes closed, and the blow lands. But the blow was not aimed at Dr. Manhattan, but at Pazur, who was about to arrive just behind him. His flame is extinguished. The darkness keeps advancing, but Dr. Manhattan is confused. Why is Superman defending him? Superman doesn't know what to think of all this. But he knows that right now he must make a decision. Dr. Manhattan all this time has been speaking of one of them destroying the other. Why can't he see beyond that? But Superman believes there may be a third option. And for that, he has to ask a question. Who is she? Dr. Manhattan sees a photograph on the ground. He knows he is creating those photographs with every step he takes. He supposes they are important to him. Dr. Manhattan tells Superman that they were. Superman knows that perhaps the darkness he sees may require everything he has to save his world. Maybe it will take that choice. The conversation between the two is once again interrupted as the heroes of different nations are arriving before Superman once more. Dr. Manhattan tells Superman yes. Now he can understand it. And as he had mentioned earlier, he could see nothing. He didn't know whether it was because Superman destroyed him or Dr. Manhattan destroyed Superman. Since Superman could not destroy him, then this will all end here. Suddenly, we only see a massive burst of blue light, so immense that it reaches everyone on Earth. Superman tries to do something, but he cannot. We only see his shield disintegrating. Hope is lost. After a few pages of darkness, we emerge from it. The darkness ends. Out of nothing, we only see a planet explode. Everything begins with a child. The metaverse forms around this only son. A ship is launched from a planet that was about to explode. The ship is found by a couple on a farm. Time later, it is July 16th, 1940. I move the lantern 6 inches out of the reach of engineer Alan Scott. He dies as the train speeds away from the bridge. It is July 16th, 1940. I move the lantern again. Elsewhere, the Kents, parents of Clark Kent, are about to die in a car accident. Before their car can crash against a tree, Hope arrives to save them. Inspired by the heroes of the past, Clark Kent steps into the light. That is because the Justice Society exists again, and so does Superboy. And because Superboy exists again, so does the Legion. As the metaverse reshapes, time catches up. 1,000 years from now, a young woman saves the life of intergalactic philanthropist R.J. Brandt. On July 7, 1917, Jonathan Thunder is born and kidnapped in Badnesia. Now we are with Johnny Thunder, who is inside Ozymandias' prison. Someone tells him that he became the Thunder. Does Johnny still remember? Of course Johnny did, and he remembers. Ozymandias wonders what John is doing. The future and the past are now free. We return to the fight of Superman against the heroes of other nations. Everything was lost for the Man of Steel. Before he could be defeated, someone tells him that a small telepathic push will clear them away. But who are all these who have arrived to help? Imra asks him if he remembers now. Flash regrets arriving late. For the Man of Steel, that doesn't matter because better late than never. And so a super team is formed to fight against the nations. Superman is not alone. And this battle resumes with multiple heroes at Superman's side. Black Adam prepares to fight. He asks Johnny to give him a taste of his own medicine. The genie tells him of course he will. And here it is. After landing a heavy blow, Johnny tells Black Adam that there it is, he deserves it for being such a bully. The Legion keeps fighting alongside the Man of Steel. They know they must not kill anyone, especially in front of Superman. Dr. Manhattan sees tomorrow, the Man of Tomorrow, and for the first time he is inspired. It is April 18th, 1938. Metal contracts as Superman lifts a 37 Ford over his head, revealing himself to Metropolis. Decades later, a police scientist is struck by lightning, and the birth of the Speed Force shakes the entire metaverse. Superman's timeline shifts forward and reality splits for the first time, creating the multiverse. In this way, Earth, too, is born. After the first and greatest crisis, Earth is divided again. Earth 1 becomes Earth, 1985, a world unexplored even today, and now I understand why these Earths exist. Each time there is a change in the metaverse, the multiverse grows. To preserve every era of Superman, more have been created throughout the years, including one from my interference after Flashpoint, and this rebirth, Earth 52 is out there. I look further into the year 2020. Superman's timeline is bombarded by the reckless energies of the old gods, once again changing the metaverse. It is July 2nd, 2025, a crisis unlike any the metaverse has ever seen, one they will call the Lords of Time. It will explode, but in its emergence Superman is revitalized, and his greatest allies will return. No matter how many times Superman's existence is attacked, he will survive, even if change is constant. Because hope is the compass of the metaverse. It is January 2026. The timeline is restored, and Earth 5G is born. It is July 17th, 2026. Superman embarks on a crusade to find Bruce Wayne's lost daughter in order to save Bruce's son. On July 10th, 2030, the Secret Crisis begins, sending Superman to fight across the universe with none other than Thor and a green mastodon even stronger than Doomsday, who dies protecting Superman from these invaders. In its emergence, Superman's timeline moves forward again. It is April 18th, 2038. Superman appears in public for the first time. 22 years earlier, the prayers of the Kents for a child are answered when a rocket lands on their farm. Superman's timeline moves forward again. April 18th, 2038 now marks a different date. Jonathan, Martha, and their baby Colin find the child who will one day be Superman. The rocket lands again in the year 2045, delivering to the Kents their only son. They find the rocket of their 3-year-old daughter, Clara, in the year 2162. In 2965, Superman appears in Metropolis for the first time. The rocket arrives, a child is loved. Superman is created. Now I understand the true purpose of Superman. He will show them the way. And in a millennium, when his timeline converges with the Legion's S, humanity will finally embrace the ways of Superman. He is the bridge stretching across generations that will lead everyone to peace. Further on, we are with the Bat, the Mime, and the Marionette. The two of them were driving when suddenly they saw that damn blue light. That's not all. Rorschach, Ozymandias, and the comedian are here too. Dr. Manhattan tells Adrian that he knows everything he has done. Ozymandias replies that he would expect nothing less at this point in the game. Once he discovered his vision about Superman, and at the same time Superman himself, it was a simple initiative. If he couldn't convince him to use his powers to save his world, he was certain Superman would. So they must go home. Everyone will live today. Suddenly, Ozymandias is shot in the chest. The shot was fired by the comedian. Everyone will live except him. And as for these two clowns, he has to kill them too. Suddenly, something begins to happen to the comedian. Lex Luthor is here, and he has also shot him. Luthor doesn't use that kind of language very often, but now it is appropriate. What Luthor is doing is countering the vibrational frequency that brought him to this place. He is sending him back to where he came from. The comedian says it can't end this way. It is October 11th, 1985. The glass shatters. Back with Adrian, Rorschach steps in front of him. Reggie doesn't want him to die because he wants justice. He wants to stop the bleeding Adrian is suffering. He has to live to pay for his crimes. He is going to rot in prison. Back with the Marionette, who confronts Dr. Manhattan. She wants him to give back her son. Manhattan tells her that they have a daughter on the way, and as for their first child, his plan is for them to be reunited. He will need an anchor in this place, just as he does. Manhattan now sees the light. He sees his purpose in the end. It is April 18th, 1954. My anchor sits in a cafe, her nerves trembling. A second has passed since my annual conversation with Carver Coleman. In this line, everything has changed. Carver Coleman returned to acting in the mid-60s, winning Best Supporting Actor. Carver Coleman died in 2005 with his partner of over 40 years by his side. The media reports that the Justice League and their allies from Mars have returned after stopping the latest interdimensional threat that blames Superman. The Justice Society of America will be investigating the actions of the Department of Metahuman Affairs, including the so-called Superman theory. They have arrested Martin Stein for his role in creating dozens of metahumans against their will. Firestorm, Killer Frost, and Hyena are among them. Elsewhere, Lex Luthor watches a screen. He knows Adrian had the right idea, but it can be improved even further. Lois was walking with Clark, who was unusually quiet. As they continued forward, they met their parents. It was good to see them again. We returned to Dr. Manhattan. I affected his world, and now he will affect mine. It is November 22nd, 1992. Adrian's plan has blown up in the world's face. The ashes are still hot beneath my feet. The tachyons from the Owl ship's departure are still dissipating. It is 1945. Gears fly through the air. It is 1959. I repair Janie's watch. It is 1992. I see a light. It is December 25th, 1992. Reggie stands on the cold ground in front of Byron Lewis' gravestone and feels warmth. His breath passes through the fabric as he murmurs beneath the mask. It is March 13th, 1993. Adrian's quarters have become his own prison. Every day after school, a young orphan named Cleopatra stands outside, obsessed with the rise and fall of Ozymandias. On her 16th birthday, with a fully grown Bubastis at her side, Miss Pax will call herself Nostalgia. Life does not stop, but it does need love. As soulless and cruel as Erica Manson and Marco Mays can be, the love between them is real. In 8 months, Anita Mays will be born. In 1984, the marionette and the mime rob a bank a mile from Rockefeller. Alerted, I go to confront them. I hesitate to kill them because I see their child in the future. He will bring great happiness to a woman I care about. Though the details of how and why are unclear to me, I blame my blurred vision on my recent experiments, including the principle of dialectical unity, and I think on it a little more. Now I realize that the blind spot of the details about the child's future is me. It is June 8th, 1984. I hold the child in my arms. He looks at me. The sun brushes his face. It is 1945, 46, 47, 48. My father is more worried about my future than my present. I inherited that. I will never be the hero this world needs because I never had what Superman had. That star there is Murphak, part of the constellation Perseus, named after the Greek hero who rescued his mother. I began to believe in wishes again. Fate does not exist without a guiding hand. My mind drifts to August 1959, to what could have been. Janie and I finish lunch. I give Janie her watch after lunch. She puts it in her purse. Her lips move toward mine. 6 months later, we are married. 3 years later, our daughter is born, followed by another the next year, and then our son 4 years after that. It is a good dream to live in. One final thought as I give the last of my power to this world and to this child, so that this world has a protector who will receive love and give love. I urge all of you out there to stop and smell the roses. Sometime later, at the Hollis household, the family was having a regular breakfast when suddenly someone knocked at the door. The girl went to open it. Finding a boy there, she asked how she could help him. The boy apologized for bothering them, but a friend of his mom and dad had brought him to this place. He said they would know what to do. The girl told him that mom and dad were making pancakes for lunch. Would he like some breakfast? By the way, her name is Sally. And what's this boy's name? Well, he has to know that John calls him Clark. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm TJ Prime, and see you in the next video.